Your awareness isn't matching your outcomes. You already know that something needs to change, so that's not the problem. You can literally see the problem right in front of you and still not feel you're able to change it. And it's not because you forgot, but it's because something else is shaping your response before your conscious mind can. But awareness alone doesn't override structure. And right now, your life is structured to produce the same response. Your awareness isn't matching your outcomes. You already know that something needs to change, so that's not the problem. The problem is your life is still moving within the same systems. And you've thought about this, you see some of the patterns. You've even managed to catch yourself in some of these patterns in real time, and still your life keeps giving you the same results. And that's the reality of many Black women. And you tell yourself, I'm not doing that anymore. I need to move differently. I see exactly what I need to change. But when the moment actually comes, you still respond the same way. And it's not because you forgot, but it's because something else is shaping your response before your conscious mind can. And that's the part we rarely discuss with precision. For a lot of Black women, you don't get to move slowly. You don't have the luxury of putting everything on pause and figuring out exactly what's going on. Because the way your life is currently set up, something always needs your attention. Someone always depends on you. So even when you see the pattern, you're still living inside of a reality that requires you to respond without hesitation. And some of you are extremely aware. You've done the work, you've reflected, you've processed as much as you can. You can explain the patterns that you experience better than anyone else. And still, your day-to-day life doesn't reflect your level of awareness. And that's where it gets confusing because you're not unaware and you're not necessarily lost. You can literally see the problem right in front of you and still not feel you're able to change it, which then causes you to feel like, what is wrong with me? And this is where most of us misunderstand what's happening. We think that awareness is supposed to fix everything. Like once you see the problem, you'll naturally start doing better. But awareness alone doesn't override structure. And right now, your life is structured to produce the same response. You don't live your life based on what you know. You live your life based on what your environment requires from you repeatedly. So when something feels urgent, you respond. When everyone around you is scrambling for your attention, you respond. When the issues that no one else will handle come up, you also respond. And those responses aren't neutral. They're patterned, they're learned, and they've been reinforced over time until they become automatic. So even when you know better, your environment is shaping your behavior faster than your awareness can interrupt the pattern. Let me show you what I mean by pattern, because this doesn't show up the same way for each of us. There are specific ways this plays out, and for some of you, you're overextended. That looks like having too many roles, too many people depending on you, and too many things that require your attention. So even when you know what you want to do, you don't actually have the space within your life to act on it. For others, you're fragmented. What this means is your attention is constantly scattered in different directions. You're moving at a fast pace from one thing to the next. You're responding, switching, adjusting, and nothing ever gets your full focus long enough to produce quality results. And then there are those of you who are maintaining. And in this pattern, everything you do goes to keeping your life running. And on the surface, that doesn't necessarily sound like a bad thing, but nothing new is being built, nothing is compounding, and you don't necessarily have real leverage. So even though you're working really hard to create change, everything stays the same. And here's the problem. If you don't know which pattern you're repeating most often, you'll keep trying to resolve it the same way. And this is exactly what we've been building on in the last two videos. We've talked about why your consistency breaks down and why your effort isn't turning into the progress you need. And what we're discussing right now is what sits underneath both of those issues. And if you haven't watched either of those two videos, I suggest you go back and watch them so that you have a deeper understanding of the conversation that we're continuing to unfold together. And it's important that you understand that you're not stuck because you don't get it. You're stuck because your understanding isn't being applied in the moments that it matters most. And nothing in your life is consistently interrupting the pattern in real time. I want you to think about the last time you said, I'm not going to do that again. And then I want you to think about what actually happened when the situation came back around. Did you actually do something different, or did you default to what you know? And this is a genuine question. I would really like to see your responses in the comments so I have a better understanding of who's here and what you're going through. Because for many of you, you can see the pattern all day. You can journal about it, you can reflect about it, you can talk with your friends on in about it, but you still haven't figured out how to exit the cycle. And this is why it's so important to understand that your life isn't actually shaped by your awareness alone. It's shaped by what repeatedly directs your time, your energy, and attention. And that pattern doesn't just affect your day, it shapes the trajectory of your life. Because if it repeats long enough, your life begins to organize itself around that pattern. Not around your purpose, not around your goals, but around your repeated response. And this is exactly where awareness alone becomes frustrating. And over time, you don't just feel exhausted. You feel stuck inside of something that you can clearly see, but haven't been able to change. And that's a very specific type of frustration that weighs so heavily on the minds, spirits, and hearts of Black women. That's why having these conversations is so important. It's not just to remind you of all the things we have to overcome, but it's to apply clarity so that we can actually begin seeing progress and results toward the lives we want and deserve. So the real shift is not just, I need to be more aware. It's what is actually shaping my decisions in real time. And this is the exact part that many of us skip over. But you can't interrupt a pattern that you can't see clearly. Many of you are already fully operating inside of one of these patterns. And if you're not fully aware of which pattern it is, you're going to keep trying to fix it the wrong way. And that's why nothing changes and why you feel exhausted inside of cycles that seem to never end. And that's exactly why I built the orientation map for Black women. It shows you clearly where your behaviors are being shaped and where your energy is being directed, so you can actually catch yourself in these moments before they decide for you. And if you know that this is something you'll benefit from, it's available for free in the description of this video. So there's nothing between you and this resource, and you can start there today. So if you're ready to begin closing the gap between where you are and where you know you should be, start with the map. And in the next video, I'm going to be breaking down how these same patterns are directly affecting your income and why so many Black women are putting in real effort but not seeing financial movement that reflects it. So if you're a Black woman who is done just understanding the problem and you're ready to actually understand how you move, subscribe, because this space is designed to help you do exactly that. Here at Unveiling In, everything that I create is centered around your unique experience as a Black woman, and it's designed to begin bringing you more power, control, and leverage in your own life on your own terms. Black women first.